Hey guys, my name is Vanessa. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to my channel if you guys are new. I hope you're having a really good day or night wherever you are. And I am so excited because I want to share with you guys this really cool topic because I just feel like it's not talked about enough. I don't know, I just feel like especially after graduating the milestones of school, like college and high school and those types of seasons in our lives where we're in those building blocks to help us through life. I feel like so much of our identity and so much of who we are is shaped in those times that so much goes on. And I think sometimes as we're learning about the things that we need to be learning about, like science, math, all the curriculum, English, all those things, we're forgetting that we need to also be taught and learned the things that we need to apply in the real world. And I feel like that's something that isn't always talked about. I feel like it's not always taught, and maybe it is, but I feel like predominantly you come out of school and we don't know how to do taxes, or we don't know how to write a check. There's different types of things that we and you and I could struggle with because we weren't necessarily taught them in school. Another example is cooking. Like, I don't know about you, but sometimes some schools have culinary class, others don't. A lot of the times it's optional. I think it should be mandatory. I feel like if you're gonna be in a place for that many hours more than you are at home, you should be being taught how to cook because you're gonna need to use that in life. And I think this is when it comes down to how much you want, to better yourself. But sometimes I don't think that that's always the first thing on someone's mind. How am I gonna survive on my own? Am I gonna thrive on my own? And it's not that you won't. I also think that it's important for parents to possibly show this to their kids as they're growing up and teach them life lessons, but sometimes people lack that. Sometimes kids and students don't have parents in their lives who can teach them that. They work or they're busy. So with that, I also want to talk about character and integrity and how building your character in those stages of life is so important. And I'm going to share with you guys how it's important because I'm gonna tell you a story about me and also just like how it matters. Like, your character of who you are is everything. It's who people remember you as. It's your integrity and it's about having trust and building trust with people. And so you could have like the best degree, right? You could have like a really substantial, hardworking degree, which is amazing. But if you don't have trust and loyalty characteristics, that may really hurt you, and maybe your degree will not weigh as much as it should, if that makes any sense. So, this just also comes down to certain stuff like, what do you do when no one's watching? Who are you when nobody's around? Do you lie more? Do you steal more? Do you cheat more? And I'm not one to say that. First of all, I'm not saying I'm perfect at all. I've struggled with this as well, but I've also come to a realization about a couple of years ago that I wanted my character to be on a firm foundation. I wanted it to be like a firm foundation on God. I wanted people to be able to trust me, and I also wanted to be able to trust myself. I didn't want to be someone who said I was going to do something and do something else, or be someone who lied and stole, because quite frankly, that didn't sit well with me. And I don't think it sits well with a lot of people, but I also think a lot of people may just override it. I feel like a common example is like shoplifting. When I was in high school, a couple of my friends and I would, go to the mall, and sometimes we thought it was super cool to just like try to see what we could get away with, right? With taking makeup or just, little things like that. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys, so I'm gonna try to be as honest as I can. And we would get away with it sometimes, and then maybe other times maybe not. But I think the scariest part is like, if you are getting away with certain stuff like that, what does that say about you? Like, how do we go to bed at night thinking that that's okay? And not that you can't make mistakes, but are you learning from your mistakes? So each time you do something, are you realizing that that may not be like the best thing for my life or for my character? Because maybe the person who works at Sephora is a really substantial person in a business that you're going to school for with that degree, and that person just caught you stealing, so you didn't get criminalized for it. You didn't go to jail or court, they let you go, But now you know, a year later you go to apply to a job and that woman is there, and for some reason she's there and she sees you and she's like, oh wait, well I remember that time that that person stole something from this store, and so now that's gonna hurt that person. So we have to be very careful about what we do, because I think sometimes when we do things and we think no one's watching, God is always watching. And I think it's okay to fall and make mistakes. That's how we learn. But if we're not learning from our mistakes, that's where the big problem comes in, because it's shaping and building your character. And I wouldn't want to sit here and lie to you and tell you that you stealing, you cheating, and you doing things that are breaking trust with yourself and for other people to trust you is helping you, because it's not. So I know exactly what it's like, and there's just a story I want to share with you guys, because I just think it's a really good example of what, you know, integrity and character is, and how important and amazing it is to build character and trust. The first one is, about a couple months ago, my family and I were going to the mall, me and my mom, and we were at the mall and we went into Nordstrom and we were shopping, and I was getting a couple gifts for people. It was around Christmas time, and I remember there was this really beautiful sweater that I liked, and it had like really nice knitting. It was just really pretty. And what happened was I went to pick it up, right? And I went to just like look at it, and it was on the hanger, and I must have thrown it inside of the bag or inside of the cart. I think I put it in the cart. I was like, oh, I want to get this. And so we were shopping. We went to go pay for some stuff that I got for some other people. And I remember that when I was putting stuff, you know, onto the table to pay for it, I was still holding the sweater, and I was gonna put it down to buy it. So anyways, so we walk out, we end up buying everything that we needed. We were walking out to the, you know, to the mall now. No, this is what happened. My mom and I were walking, and we were going straight, and I ended up by accident, this was actually by accident, I did not mean to do this. I by accidentally was holding the hanger with the really beautiful blouse sweater thing. This girl was like, oh my gosh, she was like, she got caught on the sweater. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I did not realize that I had still been holding this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to take this. And I said it to my mom, and I looked at my mom and I was like, remember I was like not too far from the store, and I was like, should I go bring this back? Like my gut is kind of, you know, telling me that I should bring this back. I don't think this is right for me to take. And she was like, yeah, like it's up to you. And then I kind of had a second thought, and I was like, well, it was really expensive, and you know, I got away with it. I'm already like halfway through the mall. I could just take it because nobody would know, but I was like, but God would know. And I just don't really feel that right about it. But we were in a rush, and I was justifying my thoughts. I knew what the right thing to do was, but I actually chose not to do it. So I was like, you know what? I deserve this sweater. I didn't pay for it. I didn't mean to take it. Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe it's meant for me to take, because I didn't mean to take it. And I was like trying to convince my mom. I'm like, right? Like, what do you think? Now I'm trying to justify my opinion when I know what's right, you know, deep down in my heart and in my gut. And I just flat out know what the right thing to do is. And that would have been to bring the sweater back and just be like, hey, you know what? I didn't pay for this, or let me pay for it, or I just simply didn't mean to, you know, take this. I really didn't have it back. So I ended up not taking it. I did feel really weird. Like I felt like I did the wrong thing, and but not enough for me to have brought it back. So clearly I didn't care that much. So we're going home, and you know, everything was okay. The day went on, and I remember we got back to the house, we were bringing everything inside, and I had also gone to Sephora that day. I got like all new makeup. I think I spent like $500 on new makeup. I'm not even kidding. I literally got like so many new things. I remember that was like the reason that I even went to the mall in the first place. And I got like all these really beautiful new palettes. Like I just remember getting like a new foundation, all these like really nice things that I was like looking forward to using. I had to get my face wash, like, you know, new skincare products. I was so excited for everything that I bought, and I was so excited to like come home and take it out and use it. I was gonna do a TikTok with all the things that I got. So I get home, and all of a sudden I'm like, where is my Sephora bag? I cannot find my Sephora bag. And I was freaking out, and I was like, what the heck? I'm so annoyed. Like, I was so dramatic. I was almost crying. I was like, I literally just spent $500 at the store, and I don't know where my Sephora bag is. And looking all over, it's not here. And I'm like, I must have left it in the dressing room, because I went to Express when I went to Express, I tried on all these new jeans and all these new clothes, and I had brought stuff into the dressing room. And I remember that was the last place that I had put my Sephora bag. I thought, I didn't really even know. So now I'm like freaking out. I'm like, this is so annoying, like this is really aggravating, and I know it's just material, so it's not the end of the world, and I know it's really not that important, but still I was just like annoyed because I had just bought something for so much money, and I was just like excited to have it and use it, and I was like, this is crazy, like where is it? So I just remember, I feel like the Lord was telling me, you know, Vanessa, you cannot just do things and not expect for what goes around to come around. And it doesn't mean that God loves me. Like, this has nothing to do with the fact that God is bad, God is mean. No, it's just your actions have consequences. And I'm not saying like when you make a mistake, there's no grace involved, because that's not true. But I think there's a huge lesson in my story, in certain things that like God will try to teach you that it's not okay to do that, because you know your actions may have consequences, and you know it might not be the best thing to hear, but it's actually trying to prevent you from anything like this ever happening, you know, again. And it's not that like you're perfect, but it's trying to teach you a bigger lesson in the bigger picture of life. That was it worth it to maybe take a sweater, even though I kind of knew I should have brought it back? It would have made me feel better. It would have made my conscience, it would have made God more proud. It would have been a better situation. God turns everything for good. So to go on with my story, I ended up, it was actually really late, that it was like 9 o'clock, so I wasn't even able to call anyone and be like, did I leave my bag there? So I had to go to bed that night, and I honestly just prayed. I was like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad that I took that sweater. I was like, you know, I just really want you to please let my Sephora bag be there when I go like to the mall, or if I call, like, could you please just locate it? I just, you know, I'm thinking someone stole it. I mean, it was $500 worth of makeup. I just was like, who knows with people nowadays. And long story short, I call the next day, and my Sephora bag is literally at Express, and the woman was like, oh yeah, I noticed, you know, there was a bag and I put it in the back. And I was like, oh my gosh, like thank God, like thank God it was there. And I remember thinking to myself, God, if I bring this back, I will repay you with it.